This is Bold TV.
Good morning, beautiful ladies out there, beautiful ladies with disabilities, beautiful women out there, strong, resilient women. It's another Saturday where we bring you great topics about disability and everything inclusion. This is Bold Heart Network, beautiful, outstanding ladies with disabilities from all across the states of Nigeria. And we're here again to talk about a particular topic that I am sure will appeal to our viewers. But before we start, I would like the ladies in the house to introduce themselves. You tell us your name, where you're joining us from, and your kind of disability. So I'll start by introducing myself. I remain Constance Onyemechi, a lady with albinism, founder Women and Girls with Albinism Network, a member of Bold Heart Network, Bold Heart Initiative, and I reside in the FCT. Vivian, please, can you introduce yourself?
Oh, good morning. My name is Vivian. I'm a person with albinism. I'm the president of Anambra State Albinism Association, and I'm calling from US.
Okay, thank you very much, Vivian. It's good to have you again in the studio. And yes, Vivian is a lady with albinism, and I'll be having this discussion with Vivian. Thank you once again, Vivian, for joining us. Our topic for today is disability and support system. Disability and support system. Like we know, in Nigeria and in Africa, disability is still very, quite new, and we're just learning along the way. But Vivian, what do you understand by, I know you know what disability is, but then what do you understand by support system for a person with disability? Yes, Vivian. Vivian, we can't hear you.
Sorry. As a person with disability, support system could mean so many things to different people. It could be financial support. It could be accommodations, making accommodations for them, depending on your kind of disability. Then it could be how government help in policies that help in their life. It could be that is also support system. So to me, in my own understanding, support system is that means where you make that disability a lighter thing for that person. That's the support system. Like what happens that makes the person not to feel actually I'm a person with disability. So that's my own understanding of support system. It can come in form of helping the person financially to solve some of his or her financial problems. It could be helping the person with the mode of the like providing material things like wheelchairs, white canes, hearing aids, sunscreens. All these are support systems. It could be helping in ensuring that policies that are made for persons with disabilities there are policies that are made. For example, if you work in the law, if you are as a lawmaker, you influence the decisions, as in make sure that there are policies that protect these persons with disability. That's support system. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Vivian. Thank you. You've listed quite a few, quite a lot rather, of different kinds of support systems for persons with disabilities. Financial part of support system. You also talked about providing assistive devices for persons with disabilities. You also very interesting and very important as well for persons with disabilities. For a person with disability, in Nigeria, I also think that also a support system, groups that you belong to, that encourages, that builds you as a person with a support system where you get information, you get encouragement, you get assistance. I think all to types of support system. Now, moving on, Vivian mentioned quite a lot of support system, and then I begin to wonder: do you know if available for persons with disabilities in Nigeria? Do you know of any support system that that?
Hello.
Yes,
Okay. In Nigeria, I would say that the most efficient support system in Nigeria are all these NGOs, development agencies. That's the most efficient support system in Nigeria, because I've gained quite a lot from agencies, NGOs like Inclusive Friends Association, Deaf Women Allowed, disability, like Jonapid, all this program they organize. But it's not like government do not give support, but it's not as efficient or as steady as NGOs. I don't know if you understand what I'm saying.
Yes, I
Then
understand.
another one that is very good and also very efficient is individual support system, where we have a lot of philanthropies where they donate wheelchairs, they bring out programs like scholarship programs for our children with disabilities. So these are the major efficient support system. I can record very few of governments, the support system that comes from government. Then another thing is we also have support system from international bodies. There's international bodies like United Nations, USA, USAID, and some other countries that come into Nigeria to help educate, give scholarship, conventions, fellowships. But I can't really record that of government much. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Vivian. You've said a lot and very important points you've raised, that we have support systems, but I think you also said that we have from non-governmental organizations. You mentioned a few like Jonapid. Jonapid is the Joint National Association for Persons with Disabilities, Inclusive Friends Association, Deaf Women Allowed, and lots of others. But at the same time, you also said that the government is not doing much. You also talked about the supports that we get from international donors. Yes, that is true. And I think from all indication, it simply means that the support systems of persons with disabilities here in Nigeria is quite, it's not enough and should be, increased. Correct? Yeah, Vivian?
Yes, because we have the population of persons with disability increases every day. We have a big number of, the population is so large in Nigeria. So
Thank you, Vivian. And I think to add to that as well, I think that for, you've said you've gone to the broader perspective, but then I'll still bring it down to um, the immediate circle or the immediate environment of persons with disabilities, where we talk about the family, and sometimes the family units, for a lot of persons with disabilities support, and others do not actually provide a support system for persons with disabilities. For example, depriving a child with a disability from getting an education is not you being supportive. But now, Vivian, since you've pointed out a lot of things that the government is not doing, what is your advice to the government, to provide support for persons with disabilities in Nigeria?
okay, the major challenge persons with disability face is not really the disability, rather the reaction and or the attitude of people or government towards that disability. Governments, like, if there is employment, they should follow the policy of 5%, so that persons with disabilities will also, a good number of them will also be keyed in employment. If they are keyed into employment, they can add their own quota, their intelligence in helping in growing that economy. Then government should make policies that makes it friendly for persons with disabilities. All these are supports. There should be health insurance scheme for persons with disability. All these are support systems. These are ways government can contribute. Government can run programs that can encourage children with disabilities, place scholarship schemes where children with disabilities will try. But those that makes it will go into will be trained all through their educational line, or through their any school of their choice. All these are ways you encourage persons with disabilities. Because from some study or from interviews I asked some parents, you see that the major reason they always give you is they don't have money to train, and maybe the person is not doing well in school. But if government, it's not like the parent is right, but I think if there is a scholarship scheme or something, it's helped to alleviate some of these problems, these financial issues parents are having. All these are support systems. I can't hear you.
Thank you so much, Vivian, for your contribution. We just have someone in the studio. Someone just joined us. Osaki, please, I would like you to introduce yourself to our beautiful audience.
Good morning, audience, women and ladies. I'm very sorry I came late. I had network issues. My name is Osaki Teresa George. We reside in Port Harcourt. Work with Fair Care Foundation, member of Bohat Initiative, Polio Warrior. I'm so glad to be here today. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much, Osaki. Thank you for joining us despite the hitch from the network. And our topic for today is disability and support system. And I and Vivian is in the studio. She has talked a lot on support systems and how persons with disabilities can access support systems and the people who have been providing more support than others. But then, we would like to also hear from you. What do you think? Do you think for persons with disabilities in Nigeria, do you think there are support systems for persons with disabilities in Nigeria? And if there are, what are those support systems for persons with disabilities? Thank you.
All right, thank you very much. For that question, I think we have, but it's very few. It's not much. It's common more with the NGOs and the mission. Though we have our own joint association of persons with disability, because we get that, and that one's where we form a group of different clusters of disability come together, which the government wants support us through there. But the major I really know are NGOs, like where I work, Fair Care Foundation. We support persons with disabilities and children with disabilities, even women with disabilities. Then where I grew up, a center by the church. It's where children with disabilities are. So I think those are the major I know of, the church and NGOs, and few private individuals in their own small space that also help. And also I also know of some companies, because I think I'm one of the privileged persons that was sponsored by a company too. So I know some companies do that when it purpose with disabilities too. So those are the few places and few organizations that I know that really support persons with disabilities. Like I know of more of the NGOs, Inclusive Friends Association. There are a lot of NGOs that do that. And most of those NGOs are even run, like the owners are persons with disabilities. So what do you expect? So that's it's more from those areas. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Asaki. Wow, that's quite rich. And we've talked about the types of support system, but I would still like you to throw more light on these types of support. Like you said, you've gotten support from companies, but our viewers out there might be wondering what kind of support. So I would like you to explain further, so that when a person with disability is seeking one type of support, he or she knows that, okay, yes, this thing is very much available. So can you throw more light on the types of supports that these organizations can give to people or have been given to persons with disabilities?
Okay, in the different areas, like where I grew up, we had the educational support, we had the welfare support, we have the behavioral and emotional and spiritual support from where I grew up, the Compassion Center. Then where I work, we have a support, Fair Care Foundation, a support of a kind of where we empower women with disabilities. We give them a long training for like 6 months, and we support them when it comes for them to have a livelihood. We also help children with disabilities. We also have a child we are assisting in our education. Then when it comes to I think the other private the company I once had support from, I had from their educational support, but they paid tuition fees for those universities and primary schools and of different categories. Then I also had support from private individuals, like we have words of encouragement, also from family and friends too, trying to see how they can not really removing the disability issue, but trying to encourage me on how I could cope with disabilities. There are words of support, and there are also support of back from where I grew up. They also have what we call the assistive devices, like the crutches and wheelchairs. You have all of that. So I think those are the few. We have mental, we have emotional, we have psychosocial, we have physical and practical support from different angles. So all of this support, you could find them in NGOs, you could find them in the church center where I grew up. You could also find them in some few companies that want to help when it comes to disabilities. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Asaki. Thank you. Thank you so much. You've mentioned quite a few, and I feel like, okay, so a lot of private individuals, private organizations, NGOs are giving so much support, and I think our government they're not yet meeting up to speed. So what is your advice to the government in order to provide support to persons with disabilities? What advice do you have to the government?
Okay, thank you very much. I think I overheard what Vivian said, the policy making. We should try and make this policy in a way that we persons with disability will be able to cope. And also, there's this other one which my NGO is running, the rights of persons with disabilities. I think that should be more like the awareness should be created, should be in schools, should be in short programs. It should just be like, even in radios and televisions, once they should just be saying it, because people don't even know we don't have a right to fight for, or rights to live, or life to have enjoyment, or let's even do everything we ought to do. So they just feel that person with disability should just have a low life, don't do anything, depend on charity, without thinking that we are also human beings first. We have life to work, life for employment, life to have a life, life to even get married, life for everything. So that if that disability right is well, if the awareness is created, which the government can emphasize more on it, so that they should create forum for all of that, so that we, persons with disability, and also the public, will be aware of these rights and be able to exercise it, or whenever it's being mentioned. It's not like, do they have it? No, it's something that everybody should just know and be able to keep it to practice. Thank you.
All right, thank you so much, Osaki. And this brings me to our last question to Vivian and Osaki. We've talked to the government. We've said, okay, government, we're advising you to do this. We talked about policies, making sure that the policies are inclusive to provide support. We've talked about a whole lot of things that the government should do. So what advice do you give to the society at large? Everyone, the society, the society is made up of men, women, and all. So what advice do you have to give to the society in order for them to provide adequate support systems for persons with disabilities? Vivian, please.
Okay, thank you for that question, because it's very, very important. Persons with disability, to me, I think the attitude or the barrier is really why it's called a disability. Because the attitude of the society is not really encouraging. Because when you segregate, or when you marginalize a person with disability, when you during the employment process, you're not giving adequate support. I have seen a person with albinism that they took his round hat because it doesn't rhyme with the uniform. Even when the child told you that he has to protect himself from the sun, you still have that mind to say it doesn't rhyme with the school uniform, that he should remove it. That is not a good support. So parents of persons with disability, in fact, that is even where the support starts from. Like Osaki said, that's where the support starts from, because the parents should teach, encourage, build the self-confidence of that child, because that family is the family is the first society the child meets. Any attitude you give that child, it's what he takes out to the society, because you don't give what you don't have. When you give that child love, you see that he or she will take that love out to the society. And it's when he or she shows that love to the society, that's when the society will embrace it, no matter how hard it is for them to embrace it. I don't know if you understand what I'm saying. So
yes.
The government also have a very big role to play. And also, just like every other person has roles to play to show support, this also involves media people. Any case of persons with disability should be well publicized. The media people should project our issues very well in the media, because it will help to enlighten people, to tell people what their attitude is really making persons with disability, as in their attitude, the effect of their attitude. Then the police should ensure that these people that make life miserable, or people that abuse persons with disability are taken to court. They'll face judgment. It's not a situation where you hold an abuser, or somebody that defaults or tramples on the right of a person with disability, you will now hold the person in your police custody, waiting for people to come and pay you, so you release the person out there again for another victim. So every position has its role to play. The medical line, there should be access to good health care for persons with disability. There should be some kind of waive. They should waive some costs for persons to make it affordable for especially those that are a low income earners. So we all have, every sector have a role to play, because there is this common saying that says that disability have not reached you does not mean that disability have passed you. Because the policy you make today might be that policy that will protect you tomorrow. You never can tell. As a lawmaker, you can make a policy that all buildings should be disability friendly, and you go out there and find yourself in an accident, you see that your policy have protected you. So everybody should be very inclusive in supporting persons with disability, so that we will build a very inclusive society for all. It's not a society where some people are giving job, some people are not giving job. So let's all help the society at large, help in building this support system. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Vivian. Quite an insightful and robust advice you have given to everyone. You touched the lawmakers, media, the family, the healthcare systems. You've touched everyone, and I'm very, very excited, because I am sure that a lot of people who are listening to this, our viewers, our audience, will also ensure that they pass this message across. Osaki, the same question to you. What advice do you have to give to the society in order for them to provide a support system for persons with disabilities? Osaki?
Hi.
Okay, so I think the network perhaps has moved Osaki out again. For me, on my own path, I think, Vivian, you've said quite a lot. And you've also said that the society, everyone has a role to play, starting from the family unit, to the teachers in school, to lawmakers, to employers of labor, to those who are even supposed to pass information, access to justice, those who are in charge of justice, the media, the health. You've touched almost, if not all of them, including the lawmakers. And my words to the society would be that in order for us to have a thriving and a booming supportive system for persons with disabilities, we need to have a change of mindset on how disability is, or how disability should look like, and embrace everyone irrespective of their differences, regardless of the type of disability, regardless of how they are viewed. Because I know that a lot of things persons out there do is as a result of culture, but then culture evolves, and I believe that as humans you should evolve with culture. You should learn to read wide so that your mindset changes. You don't grow up with the thought of, because if you, for example, the media will project that if a person with disability, if you're a bad person and the gods want to punish you, he gives you some sort of disability. So things like that needs to be debunked, because when you project such things like that, it affects someone who already has that kind of disability, who is already going through a lot, and the person begins to see such narratives flying here and there. So the onus lies on each and every one of us as individuals to begin to protect, to begin to encourage, to begin to empower persons with disabilities, regardless of where they come from, how they look like, and just ensure that they are included in everything that goes on in the society, be it decision making, political participation, social life, education, transportation. Because when you include persons with disabilities in all this, the growth and the development of every society is dependent on the individuals that are resident in that society. So we've come to the end of today's topic, but before we leave, I would like to ask Vivian, do you have any last words for our viewers? Anything you want to tell them? Yes, Vivian, we can't hear you.
Sorry. Thank you
Okay.
very much. Thank you to our viewers, because I think that they are the most important people in this program, because if they're not viewing us, we will not be here. So
Yeah,
we
true.
really appreciate, and we always tell you that you always view us, and you get to see a lot of things about this Bold TV. And I will also have a word of advice for persons with disabilities. Do not always wait for somebody to support, though it's necessary, but also leave that your comfort zone to try to build yourself, to try to develop yourself. Because if we always wait, you see that we at a time you become discouraged. Always look out for opportunities out there. Yeah, it will be quite, it will not be easy, but you keep trying. We keep trying out opportunities. Try to always build yourself. Let it now be that the problem is from the government. So because most times this support system is good, but in some cases, some people take advantage of it, and they now have this entitlement mentality that they can't even help themselves. Even that, the most little thing you can help yourself do, you cannot help yourself do. You wait for the government. So I would also advise persons with disabilities to try to help themselves in some areas where they can help themselves, so that it will create more opportunities for them. You can sell yourself. So that's my advice to persons with disability. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Vivian. Thank you to our viewers. Thank you to our listeners. And thank you for always tuning in to Bold Hearts TV, a TV that brings you every topic on disability, lifestyle, and everything you'd like us to talk about. You can follow us on our social media handles. You can follow us on our YouTube and Facebook pages. You can also write to us if there's a particular topic you would like us to talk about. For sponsorship and adverts, you can also reach out to the host. You can reach out to me, Osaki, and Miss Freki, and Afyong, who they are quite absent today due to certain things, the weather and all. But you can always reach out to them. Until we come your way next time, this is Bold Heart TV, and will always remain your the best on disability topics. Thank you, and see you next time. Bye. Bye.
This is Bold TV.